Premier League Christmas special started off with the draw between Liverpool and Arsenal. However, fates differed on the second game of the week for both. Arsenal dropping points at home to West Ham, where Liverpool secured all 3 points at Turf Moor. Elsewhere, United suffer a loss to West Ham and then followed it up with an incredible comeback victory against Villa. We'll cover all that was from Boxing Day and the matches right before Christmas on this episode of the Premiership Perusal Podcast.
Manchester City are still alive here. Balotelli, Aguero! Back, Fuchs, and the ball in behind Damian Vardy! It's 11! It's heaven for Jamie Vardy!
You are an ostrich. Well, your head must be in the sand. Is your head in the sand? Are you flexible enough to get your head in the sand?
Now the fans are shouting every week, Louis van Gaal's army! Louis van Gaal's army!
Feet after a fabulous start, the game just got away from you there.
I have nothing to say.
Nothing to say about the game at all.
Drama from day one! This is the league we want to watch!
Ho, ho, ho.
Oh, Sammy boy.
It's about time that we found out who is
That Luton's
naughty
for real.
and who is nice.
Luton was nice, getting 2 wins.
Club of the future.
Club of the, honestly, kind of club of the past, yet club of the future because they have so many throwback guys, yet they're really good right now.
They're a modern day Renaissance. What can you say?
They're an enigma.
Anyways, lots of games to cover. Let's start. Match week 18. First one up. Crystal Palace versus Brighton.
Yeah, Sam, I tell you, this game right here, surprisingly, I don't know if you'd say surprisingly given how Brighton been playing lately, but it felt like Crystal Palace looked like the better team for, I don't know, 3/4 of the first half. Like Brighton held possession for a little over majority, but Crystal Palace just really able to create a lot of chances once they won the ball. Typically Brighton were at least able to, hold possession, and Palace would be winning the ball in their own defensive third or the mid third to counter. Few big chances. Well, big chances for Palace, but they really were only half chances because it kind of felt to the final pass was just not good enough. Typically it was always like Ayew making past your boy Ayew Sam. Or even Etse wasn't super duper strong in this one. Any chance they really had was not amazing, but they do get a goal right on the stroke of halftime. Jordan Ayew from Olise comes off a turnover from Brighton in Brighton's defensive third, where they were trying to build out of the back. They were turned over. Palace taking a 1-0 lead into halftime. Second half, same kind of story to start, and then Brighton kind of settled down, actually getting a couple good chances. Lewis Dunk had one off a set piece that went just wide. They really were kind of peppering it as the half went on. I would say that the most entertaining part of the game was Verbruggen almost touched the ball outside the box. That was great.
About to be on
But
the
I tell
naughty
you-
list.
Yeah, he almost was. He almost pulled a Fodderingham. But I tell you what, Sam, they do get a goal. Danny Welbeck from Pascal Gross sending it on in. Danny Welbeck pops up when you need him most. Secures 1 point for Brighton on the road. I was honestly, the result, I don't know if you'd say favored Brighton, but I felt like Palace was still a little better in this game. I feel like a draw was reasonably fair. If anything, Palace should have won, but um, Brighton, I don't know. They're something about their build-up just is not as strong lately until today's game. But that's a whole other issue for Tottenham. But didn't really think Palace was super duper impressive. They really can only play wide too. They like cannot go central, and part of that's just they don't really have anyone as like a 10. They just only have whether it's even like Mitchell or Klein swinging in crosses, or Elise pops out wide, or Etse kind of floats out wide. It's like, eh. So, um, yeah, finishes 1-1.
Right. Points are shared in that one. Moving on to the next game. Villa versus Sheffield United, the game everyone was looking forward to. A real barn burner.
We almost had egg on our face entirely.
Almost. Villa decided not to show up in this one. First half, pretty much nothing happened in the first half. There was not much for chances for either side.
Yeah, what did Diaby had like one chance and that was like it? That's the only thing I really remember.
That was it in the 17th minute. That was pretty much it. Went into halftime, 0-0. Second half, early-ish chance. Sheffield struggling to clear the ball from corner. Watkins wins the ball back, finds Bailey at the back post for a goal, but it was disallowed for a foul on the keeper. It was kind of weird because the foul was quite a bit before the goal. You know, it falls
But they
into the
call
category
it
of
part of the continuation of play and it affected it or something, I guess.
yeah. They say it's the same sequence, which I mean, on one hand, it was
There's an advantage, but then there's something a little more extreme than an advantage where it's like, really, we're gonna count that going
it
back
seemed
10 seconds.
a little bit far, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But you know, I could see, you know, it came from the initial corner, and then foul on the keeper didn't get called, so it all kind of stemmed off of that. You know, after that, you know, plenty of Villa on the ball, but not really creating much for chances up until late on when all the action in this one happens. Possible red card not called. John Duran hitting Robinson. I thought that was a little surprising, although for some reason elbows are never called, so I guess not too
You
surprising.
don't get that call when you're Jack Robinson, I'll tell you that much.
That is true. And then in the 87th minute, Sheffield United take the surprise lead through Cameron Archer, the man who used to be a villain, is now the hero. Aston Villa sleeping on the set piece, allowing Cameron Archer to score on that one. After that, Villa pile on the pressure in search of an equalizer, and they finally get it in the 97th minute. Douglas Luiz putting a nice ball up for Zaniolo, scores with a solid header, the draw level. That one ends 1-1. Disappointing result for Aston Villa. Poor performance overall. Should have easily handled Sheffield United. And Sheffield United, honestly, you know, once again, so close to picking up 3 points and then blew it at the end. That late goal. So
Yeah, both should have felt like they should have won the game. Mainly Sheffield towards the end, but going into the game, you would say is a disappointing result for Villa, to say the least.
indeed. All right.
All right, moving on, Sam. Moving on. We have the first Saturday game: West Ham, Manchester United,
The Kings of the 2-0 West Ham.
something like that. This game came down to a few things: West Ham set pieces, and Man U kind of counterattack / winning the ball in midfield. Some plays were converted, some were not. Tell you what, West Ham honestly looked pretty good to start. You know, we obviously know they don't hold the ball a ton, but early on they were kind of held their own as far as possession and stuff. Man U, Settling. Settling for a lot. Their best sequences were kind of getting to the byline and then just swinging across in, but really wasn't much. And I was just thinking about how disappointing Bruno Fernandes has been this year. He's been like total disappointment this year, to say the least. Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, 100%. I mean, I've been off the Bruno train for a couple years now.
Yes. Um, really kind of letting him down, not taking his chances in this one. Uh, Garnacho is really, this has been like the week for, or the month for like Garnacho bros, which we don't like him, but we've been saying for a while he's better than any winger that they've bought, aka Sancho and Anthony.
Yeah.
Um, and he's been not just their best winger, he's been their best attacker. Rashford, Hoyland, Sancho, Anthony, doesn't matter. He's their best guy going forward. Um,
Which, to be fair, is a very low bar.
true, true. He's at least scoring goals out here. Um, Man, you having to start Kabi Mino, youth guy. He definitely looks pretty fresh, to say the least. He was not was kind of some nerves settling in, kind of not looking so hot. Does go to halftime 0-0. Second half, West Ham kind of piling it on. Definitely the better chances. Man, you just really had nothing going for him. And then 72nd minute, Jared Bowen, a nice little 1-2 with Paqueta. No one moves with Bowen as it's dinked over the top behind the defense. He shoots it right at Onana, and then it rebounds right off him and in to make it 1-0. And then second goal comes from Mohamed Kudus. Assist from Paqueta. Really nice sequence there. Great finish by Kudus. But this just comes from West Ham winning the ball and making a nice run. Man, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, they even started some guy who I genuinely hadn't heard of, Willie Kambwala. You heard of this guy, Sam?
Willie? No, I have
Big
no
Willie.
idea who that guy
No, they
is.
also started Johnny Evans. Their back four was Shaw, Wan-Bissaka, Evans, and Kambwala. Uh, I don't really know what to say about this team.
I'd say in the business, we call that a good meal.
Yeah, they really. I mean, a part of it's injuries, but also it's just not. They just don't have any depth whatsoever. We said that kind of coming into the year. Uh, Whereas West Ham, they have the attacking prowess right now. They have some depth, but that depth might be tested. As Paqueta, we'll get to later in the pod, went down today against Arsenal with an injury. Finishes 2-0 West Ham. Solid performance by West Ham, but really just Man U being Man U. And this is why fans are so disappointed with Ten Hag, because it's stuff like this. It's like there's no consistency. It's all just random. So even when good things happen, it's not necessarily because there's a plan in place and you're building towards something. It's just by chance. And we'll see that with the Villa game. You think, oh, that's a good win. I don't know. So disappointing for United, but solid win for West Ham.
Yes, indeed. All right. Speaking of disappointing, Fulham versus Burnley. This one starting off. Burnley actually looking up pretty decent to start the game, surprisingly. But then after that, in the first half, it was mainly Fulham, as you would expect. They had a couple chances early on. Wilson had a chance, and then Iwobi putting one side net at the near post. It was pretty much all Fulham for the rest of the half. And they had a flurry of chances, kind of half chances towards the end of the half, but unable to capitalize on those chances. Goes into halftime 0-0. Second half, early chance for Amdouni. Goes just wide, and then Burnley score just a minute later. Odegaard and Lyle Foster linking up well. Odegaard scoring with an absolute peach of a curler.
It was
Take
nice.
the lead.
It was quite nice.
Indeed, it was. And then, not too long after, 66 minutes, Sander Berge just run straight down the heart of the midfield. Fulham have nothing to answer with, and he's just able to run through, get the shot off
A little smash it.
to take the 2-0 lead. After that, Fulham really didn't look all that threatening, honestly. They looked very poor in possession. They gave the ball away way too easily. They didn't look threatening at all. Since they've been missing Raul Jimenez, they've really looked pretty lackluster up front, and this game was no different. I didn't think Burnley was that great, but they took their chances, and
They're good
sometimes
enough.
that's all you got to do. Yeah, picking up a big win, especially on the road here against a very decent Fulham side. So
A
good
very
win.
decent Fulham side.
Good win for Burnley. Yeah, not a whole lot
Much
to talk
needed.
about now.
Pretty much like getting into must-win territory for
Yeah,
some of these teams at the bottom.
yeah, for sure. Sure.
Speaking
Especially,
of must-wins,
yeah, speaking of must wins.
Newcastle, if they have any hope of, European competition and stuff, they gotta get some wins against teams like Luton. But that is not the case. Not the case in this one. Most of the first half was mainly Newcastle holding the ball. Luton for the most part trying to play on the counter. Nothing crazy, kind of as you would anticipate. Newcastle, it's just one of those games where it felt like they weren't going to score, and you could kind of tell, like when you're watching it live. We haven't had a ton of those this year, but this was definitely one of them. It just didn't feel like they had anything going. And then 25th minute, we got Andros Townsend. Luton take the corner. Ball's headed onto Andros Townsend, back post, wide open, tucks it in on Martin Dubravka, who did not have his hair slicked back again. Unbelievable. I
Save
don't know what
us.
he's doing.
Dubravka,
Yes.
save us.
Well, Lewis Miley couldn't save Newcastle. He went off injured in the 38th minute. He's been kind of big for them so far. Isak comes on. After that, goes in halftime 1-0. Second half, Newcastle do score in the 60th minute, but Isak is ruled offside. It was marginal, but it was offside, in fact. Newcastle really putting the pressure on, but honestly, Luton, for all of stoppage time and pretty much the last 5 minutes of regular time, was able to just do enough in terms of parking the bus, time wasting, kind of winning plays, if you will, by an inferior side. So that was really impressive to see. And then the very end, Rob Edwards getting emotional because of the Lockyer incident last week. You could tell how much it meant to them.
Mhm.
Huge win at the Ken. Newcastle have that sinking feeling.
Yeah, Newcastle once again. Very disappointing away defeat. As the week went on as well. Another disappointing result later on that we'll get to, but yeah, it's not looking great.
Yeah, I'm wondering, we did reach this point before the year where what are the odds that they're just not that great and Eddie Howe gets sacked and then they try and bring in a supposed world-class manager for the project to take the next step.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about that. I was thinking about because I was like, oh, well, we're at the halfway point. I wonder what the biggest misses we had were. And I would say the biggest miss, as far as a team's perspective, is we pretty much had Villa and Newcastle flopped. We had, I think, Villa 7th and Newcastle 4th or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously
it just goes to show Newcastle, having to play Champions League.
it's a
Obviously,
lot.
the injuries have been a huge part this season for them.
Yeah. And maybe this goes to show that playing Europa Conference League, unless you're West Ham and have zero depth last year, it just doesn't really matter compared to the Europa League because you're just playing teams from Slovenia and Hungary and stuff, and it's it's not that important. You're not playing crazy teams. Whereas Europa League, you might play a decent side every now and then. But yeah, huge win for Luton. Massive disappointment for Newcastle. Moving on. Nottingham Forest. Bournemouth. Sam. He's back.
He's back.
Nuno. Steve Cooper out. Nuno in.
Back from his, what was he in? Was he in Saudi Arabia or was he in Qatar?
Yeah, he was managing one of the team that has a bunch of guys that used to play in Europe. I don't remember which team. I don't think it was Ronaldo's team, but he was managing one of those teams. I'm not one of the people who tries to act like they know or care about the Saudi league.
As is correct.
Yes. Also have I always like to see the lineup changes when this stuff happens. Really kind of packing the midfield in this one. You know, get a little Divock Origi and Alonga, Ryan Yates in there as well. I was like, oh, okay. But starting things off, couple decent chances for Bournemouth, definitely in control to start. And then we have a massive, massive moment right off the bat, Sam. Right off the bat. Willy Bolly, already on a yellow, gets a second yellow on a ball that he clearly wins. And it was pretty brutal. Sometimes you question, should there be VAR? Should there not be VAR? I don't know. And then it's like,
This one they can't even look at. Second yellow.
Yeah, second yellow. Yep. And I think the weirdest thing was, I don't know why, but Iriola got a yellow. I don't know what he was arguing about, but he got it. He got a yellow. So now he was suspended for the midweek game. But yeah, I mean, he clearly wins the ball.
Yeah.
Like, and that just completely shifts like how the game's going to be played now. A center back just gets taken out of the game entirely on a poor call. Goes into halftime 0-0. Second half, it's Forrest who opened the scoring. Anthony Alonga from Chris Wood. Chris Wood, look at him go.
He's cooking.
He's making things happen. He is really making things happen out there. The
Put some wood on
celebration, the
fire.
jubilation of Alonga with the Forest fans. Crazy to see, and you think, okay, well, they got a little momentum even though they're down a man. And then Bournemouth immediately come down, and Big Dom said, watch me drop this right on your head. And he answers to equalize, makes it 1-1. Shortly after that, Bournemouth get another goal through Big Dom Solanke. It was kind of a fortunate goal for Bournemouth as the ball is kind of pinging around, falling to him. And then Forest get a goal. Chris Wood from Morgan Gibbs White. I don't even know how it really went in because the header went through like 4 people, it looked like, off the corner from like the back post. It was like, when it wasn't a hard header, it was just so well placed. It was truly incredible. Only Chris Wood could do something like that, Sam.
True.
And then
Inshallah, this header goes in.
that he did, but he said it in an Aussie accent, or a Kiwi accent rather.
Oh yeah.
Let me get my islands correct, please. Thank you. Bournemouth really pressuring towards the end, and they finally get the goal. Adam Smith, pretty decent cross in, but it's really an amazing header by Dom Solanke. Heads it upper 90. Nothing Matt Turner can do about it. Truly incredible. Big Dom hat-trick. 3 goals for Bournemouth. All for Big Dom, obviously. And 3 points go to Bournemouth. It feels like Forest were a bit hard done by the terrible call, but you can't say Bournemouth didn't deserve it.
Yeah, definitely changes the game completely, like you said, but Bournemouth making the most of the opportunity. They continue to cook Big Dom Solanke continues to cook. He's right up there with the top goal scorers. He's second now,
Yeah, with 12.
having a fantastic season. He's caught fire.
Yes, he has. Yes, he has.
All right. Speaking of teams that are on fire, Everton is no
Oh, they're gonna
longer
say
one of
Tottenham.
them.
How dare you?
I hate to say it, but Everton they've cooled off. They have cooled
They looked
off.
pretty good in this game, though.
They
It
did.
feels a bit Tottenham fortune that they things broke their way a few times in this game.
That is absolutely can't be denied. This one, Tottenham getting off to an early lead. Despite a decent start from Everton, Popsar finding Brendan Johnson rolls across to Richarlison for the goal. Really nicely worked. Richarlison doesn't score like he won the World Cup. He shows some respect to his former club.
He did
Everton.
kind of
He
celebrate a little bit,
he
and then
did,
he's like,
but
"Oh shit, it's Everton."
but on the scale of Richarlison, that was pretty low for celebration.
True. Well, he does normally act like every goal wins the World Cup, so that's fair, I guess.
Yes, exactly. After that, there was a big chance miss from Brennan Johnson from about 7 yards out. And then 5 minutes later, Son scores via a rebound from Johnson's initial shot off of a corner to make it 2-0. You're thinking, all right, Tottenham's up 2-0 early in the game. Pretty smooth sailing from there, but the rest of the half, Everton was probably the more threatening side. Tottenham just kind of let off the gas, and we're happy to sit back a bit, not push forward as much. Went into halftime 2-0. Second half, there was a disallowed goal right off the bat. Andre Gomez taking the ball off Emerson Royale and finding Calvert-Lewin for the goal, but it was disallowed. I think it was for foul.
That sounds right.
Then Gardner had a chance, hit off the post. After that,
There's a lot of post hits this game. I mean, I didn't cover
Yes.
them in my games, but I think like of the games that we've talked about so far, there's at least like 3 of them that hit off the post.
A lot of post-its. Kulishevsky had a shot, forcing Pickford into a nice save. And then Everton grabbed the late equalizer, 82nd minute. Andre Gomez, the unlikely scorer, after the ball fell to him from a corner.
Yeah, who saw that? Who knew he was in the league?
Yeah, didn't know he was still on the team, but he still is, apparently. After that, a couple more chances. Danjuma had a couple chances late on, forcing Vicario to into a nice save. And then late on, in the 6th minute of added time, Danjuma nearly scoring from a first-time shot.
Yeah,
Hit-
just
Hit
a
off
rip.
the bar and then off of Vicario's leg, nearly over the line, but somehow manages to keep
I
it
don't know
out.
how.
Tottenham thank their lucky stars that they walk away with a win on this one. 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, what else can you say? I don't know how you'd watch that game and be like, Everton, they didn't deserve it.
Yeah, they definitely could have got a point from that one for sure. Also, Tottenham, Christian Romero getting injured in this one, had to go off at halftime. He's out for 4 to 5 weeks, I saw, so that's a miss for Tottenham. So we'll see how they manage without him.
I could tell you, not good.
Probably not.
Not good at all. Not good one bit. Because I had to watch like 3 fullbacks play today for them, and it was bad.
Yes. All right. Moving on to the last game of Saturday, the big one, Liverpool versus Arsenal. And won't you know it, Arsenal get off to the flying start. They started off early. They had early chance and scored an early goal through Gabriel from a set piece. Just kind of caught Liverpool off guard early on. Starting off with some good energy. Odegaard on the assist. After that, Arsenal were probably the better team for about 20 minutes, and then it kind of turned more towards Liverpool. And this was, anyone could look at this lineup and be like, okay, we got Salah versus Zinchenko. That's going to be an issue. Turns out it was an issue. 29 minutes in,
Who would have
Zinchenko
thought?
gets absolutely torched, as you would expect, and Mo Salah scores. Nice long ball from Trent Alexander-Arnold, but really should have been prevented if Zinchenko had 1 ounce of being able to defend in his body.
He doesn't.
He doesn't. This one goes into halftime, 1-1, second half. I would say Liverpool were the better side in the second half, but it wasn't
It was a
by
mix.
much.
It was a mix.
It neither side honestly looked all that convincing in terms of scoring. I expected more out of Liverpool. I mean,
Yeah, no, this was definitely a disappointment from Liverpool. Not just results-wise, but mainly performance-wise. It's one thing if you draw with Arsenal, but to come out there and look as flat as they did,
yeah,
especially where Klopp used the cheap oh, we were so disappointing against Man U, we have to be rocking. I don't know what the fans are doing. He even pulled that out, and the players just didn't really respond. I don't know. Liverpool, I still think obviously they're in first, and I've been saying they're title favorites for a while now, but I'm just worried a bit about the midfield, just a little bit. And I think it's just because Szoboszlai has dropped off a wee bit. He was really kind of carrying them for a bit, but also, I mean, you don't have McAllister in there anymore. That's massive. So maybe it's just a matter of getting McAllister back, and then if you get Szoboszlai back in form a little bit, you'll be okay. But
yeah.
I don't know.
Big moment in the second half was Liverpool's 5-on-1.
Oh my gosh.
Trent hitting his chance off the bar, bobbled up on him. It's got to be said, the state of the pitch was absolutely
Fantastic.
shambolic.
It was dry.
It was a slip and slide out there, boys.
No, it was dry.
Absolutely brutal.
It's just dry.
So that one ends 1-1. The points are shared. Decent result if your Arsenal go to Anfield a point. You'll gladly take that.
100 times out of 100.
Liverpool, as we said, expected a bit more out of them in this one.
Yeah, I mean, this was the biggest match for them so far, and they just kind of fell flat, to say the least.
Yeah. Now potential issues in defense. Shimikas, possible
Shimikas
broken
Matip.
collarbone after sliding into Jurgen Klopp, who refused to get out of the way because he's just a Chad
because
like that.
he's Jurgen Klopp. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty rough, to say the least, for him. And now they got to rely. I don't know if they just go Joe Gomez the whole time or what they do exactly, but
Probably.
yeah, they might not really have a choice. Could dabble in the market. You never know, but we'll see. Moving on. Sunday game, last game of this match day. It's Wolves, it's Chelsea, and it was stinky. Very, very stinky. Chelsea, countless chances to start. Nicholas Jackson and Raheem Sterling on virtually every chance, and they fluffed it. I guess every single time. I would say every single time. to say the least. Two main ones had to be, I want to say like the 10th minute or 15th minute, somewhere in that range, where Jackson had no defenders around him and just couldn't control a little ball that was dinked over the top to him. And then the biggest chance, comical Chelsea, peak Charity FC, as Sam would say, had to be the 3-on-0 break after turning Wolves over in midfield / their defensive third. First off, I don't know how Wolves were in this position. That their furthest guy back was like 40 yards down the field. And they're like, what if we just played a quick pass straight up to him? That was insanity. I don't know what that was. But it goes, Sterling wins the ball. He's 3-0 against Saw with Jackson and Palmer next to him. And Sam, would you believe it? He shoots it rather than passes it.
Classic.
I mean, I don't even know what to say. The people that sit there and say that Chelsea's biggest issue is not being able to break down a low block have not watched Chelsea so far this year. If Chelsea were in like 4th or like competing for Champions League spots, you know what? I could get behind that. I could get behind that idea. But the fact that their defense last year, Sam, think about how bad Chelsea were. They still had a good defense. They were still like
That's true.
top 3 in like least amount of goals conceded. They can't keep a clean sheet, like, to save their life, except against Sheffield. That's it. And then stuff like this, they're clear chances. Like, Pochettino does dumb things. This is not one of them. This is not something he can control. This is on the players. Like, just brutal. Brutal decision making. Wolves got to close the half strong. Couple chances for Hwang Hee-chan. Just really half chances, nothing crazy. Goes in halftime 0-0. Second half, Wolves open up strong. Couple chances off the corner, and then they score off one. Lamina wins a header. Nothing Petrovic could do on this one. Had to make a huge save on a corner or two before that one, but could not do anything about this as it went to the far post. Wolves go up 1-0. The rest of the second half was mainly Chelsea. The game really took a turn when Nkunku came on. Chelsea looked a whole lot better with him out there. Actually had some flow, some quick 1-2s. There's actual like motion and movement. It was actually incredible. Him and Mudryk coming on. Nkunku had a shot that was cleared off the line. Another big chance for Sterling, but he took too long, and his shot got blocked when no one was around him. And then towards the end, it just became Chelsea kind of spamming balls in the box. But Wolves get a little break, get going, and then it's Matt Doherty, the former Tottenham man, the former Atletico Madrid man, Sam, who puts Wolves up 2-0. But then Chelsea, with the lifeline, Sterling pops one up for Nkunku, who heads one to the far post, and then to make it 2-1. And that is how it finishes. Wolves grab all 3 points.
Another solid win for Wolves. Gary O'Neill back at it again.
What can you say?
Charity FC also
Yeah.
back at it again.
I think it was less about Wolves in this one. I think it was less about Wolves. I think Chelsea just are terrible. There's not much to say. When they're just inability to score first is such a hindrance on them. That's truly incredible.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. Match week 19. Boxing Day. First game up. Newcastle versus Forest. This one gets off to a quick start. Gibbs White early chance. And then a moment of controversy 20 minutes in. Isak awarded a very soft penalty that really probably shouldn't have been called, but somehow it stands. Isak steps up, converts it, makes it 1-0. Newcastle off to a good start, but things would take a turn from there. Alanga had a good chance on the counter, but Alenga opted for the shot instead of the square ball to Chris Wood. Would have been a guaranteed goal. Kind of Raheem Sterling did there.
Yes.
But it doesn't matter because just before halftime, Forrest again break on the counter, this time through Gibbs White, who finds Alanga. And this time he plays the square ball for Chris Wood for the goal to draw it level 1-1. Goes into halftime. Second half,
Chris Wood revenge game, by the way.
Chris Wood revenge game, even though he didn't celebrate. He's got so much
Yes.
respect for his time at Newcastle.
How could you not?
It's like 8 months. Forrest get a second goal early on, 53 minutes in. Again on the counter attack. Alanga making a run down the middle. Finds Chris Wood, who just makes a fantastic run through the box, creates space, and has a tidy little finish after flicking it up to himself. Fantastic play out of Chris Wood. You would not expect that. Then 7 minutes later, Chris Wood completes the hat trick after getting in behind easily. Livramento, for some reason, playing him onside way far back. Wood rounds Dubravka to complete the hat trick, to complete the revenge game. Chris Wood is absolutely on fire, and no one saw it coming.
Chris Wood's on fire. Your defense is terrified. Chris Wood's on fire.
You know, the thing I noticed in this one watching Forest is they just seem to have simplified the game. You know, just trying to hit on the counter, not dilly-dally on the ball. And it worked for them, you know, taking chances that came to them, capitalizing on those chances, capitalizing on some mistakes from the defense.
Are you buying into Nuno ball? Is that what I'm hearing right now?
I mean, if Chris Wood keeps cooking, sure.
Whatever it takes.
If he goes
for Chris
cold,
Wood to cook.
then I don't think so.
Then you just need a Wani.
Yeah. Where's he? He's been hurt forever.
Yes, he has.
Anyways, great win for Forest.
Yeah, very nice result, to say the least.
It's getting spicy at the bottom. That's for sure.
Yeah, teams are picking it up.
Yeah. All right, moving on to the next game, Bournemouth versus Fulham. We talked about Bournemouth continue to cook, and they are just red hot. They continue to be red hot in this one. Game was pretty competitive early on. Action at both ends, but not a whole lot of chances between them. It's just kind of playing more so in the midfield. The goal that broke the deadlock came just before halftime. Alex Scott making a fantastic run down the middle. He's been a great addition to the Bournemouth side now that he is fully fit,
Yeah,
firing
it
on
was
all
kind of
cylinders.
unfortunate. You can see the potential with them, but it was kind of unfortunate. The injuries kind of held them back for a good chunk of the year.
Yeah, but he's playing now. He absolutely just glides through the midfield. This one, he goes nearly all the way. Just at the very end, lays it off for Kluivert. Probably should have been saved by Bernlino. Kind of those awkward ones where you should try and save it with your foot. He tried to save it with his hands, tried to get down, but not quick enough. Goes into halftime, 1-0. Second half, Fulham got off to a decent start, but Bournemouth hit on the counter in the 61st minute. And Semenyo makes a run into the box. And just an absolute boneheaded foul from João Palhinha from behind. And Bournemouth are awarded a penalty. Big Dom Solanke steps up and converts. It was like their first penalty in like 20 months or something.
I believe it.
Insane.
You know, who has the most penalties this year?
Tottenham.
Chelsea.
Chelsea.
Without the help of ref ball, Chelsea might be struggling. Oh wait, they already are struggling.
Indeed. Bournemouth cap it off at the very end. Luis Sinistera, he only scores bangers nowadays.
He only scores once in a while because he can't get over anyone in that team because they're too good.
That is true. But he seems to score when he gets on. This time, cutting in from the left-hand side. Just taking a nice curling shot. Finds the top of the box. To cap off another quality 3-0 victory as Fulham. They were red hot, and now they are ice cold.
Yep, we bought in too soon. We didn't sell stock. We might have to sell stock now.
And
It's not too late. We got in really low.
definitely
take a low
Fulham on the
profit.
road is really bad.
Oh, that we did say. We did say that. It's
Yes.
like, Craven Cottage, pretty solid. On the road, very stinky.
It seems like there's kind of a number of home merchants this season.
Newcastle,
Newcastle, Fulham,
Chelsea,
Villa.
Fulham. Fulham's the ultimate home merchant, though. They literally, besides Sheffield, win like every home game. So
Yeah.
at least they're like a real. They might be kind of semi fraudulent because all their wins are at home, but still.
Yeah.
Yeah, the top. Would you believe this? The two best home teams this year are Villa and Newcastle.
I would believe it. I've seen it.
Palace are not home merchants. They're second to last.
Which is weird because it feels like if any team should be, it should be Palace.
Yeah, true. Everton are not home merchants. They're road merchants, apparently. They're fifth in the away table.
Which is kind of hilarious.
Yeah, they got to get out of Goodison. They're like, we cannot stand this.
They're doing it the
Newcastle
hard way.
is second to last in away. They have 5 points on the road this year.
Brutal.
Fulham is third to last with 6.
Absolutely brutal.
Wow. Wow. That's insanity.
It is. All right. Speaking of clubs of the future, we're going back to Luton. The battle at the bottom. A 6-pointer, Sheffield United versus Luton. This one really popped off in the second half. Starting off in the first half, Luton take the lead. 17 minutes in. Alfie Doughty. He's been the best player so far this season for Luton, in my opinion. And this time he gets rewarded for a great individual effort. Just a nice run.
Could maybe make the case for Adebayo. Could maybe make the case for Kaminsky. But yeah, I would say Alfie.
Yeah.
Those are the only guys who really come to mind. I felt like
Ross
Morris
Barkley
would be like hands down. Well, Ross Barkley's, that's a given. He's not really a part of Luton. He just, he's honestly like a myth.
Yeah.
He's mystical at this point. It's like Ross Barkley.
Yeah, he is. Anyways,
he is him.
Doughty playing on the right-hand side this game didn't matter because he got the goal. Put it right through the wickets of Fodringham. Another not so great moment for him. After that,
Sheffield, tell me something new.
Sheffield United had some more attacking threat after the goal. Trusty had probably the best chance just before halftime. He hit the post. Speaking of hitting the post, goes into halftime 1-0. But second half's where the game really popped off. Starting in the 61st minute, Sheffield United draw level through Ollie McBurney for a potential penalty. Wasn't called for James McAtee, and then the ball just kind of fell for Ollie McBurney for the tap in at the back post. After that, 69 minutes, Luton managed to keep out a couple of chances from Sheffield, but eventually the ball falls to Ahmed Hazic, who scores. Just really a failure to clear the lines, Luton. you know what? They don't give up. 77 minutes. Carlton Morris puts a hopeful ball into the box. Deflects off of Jack Robinson. R.I.P. Jack Robinson. Not having a great episode so far.
No,
Didn't get a red card in the first one. This time, getting the own goal.
You saying they didn't give up hope. They literally turned to themselves and said, "Lad, it's Sheffield."
It's Sheffield, lads. Come on. Can't lose this one. And they didn't, because in the 82nd minute, Luton score again via an own goal. This time off of Ben Slimani. That one ends 3-2. Luton with a massive victory as they go 2 in a row. You love to see it. The Mad Hatters are
big wins
happy.
big win for Luton. Big win. The wins just keep coming for them. They're riding the wave right now, to
They
say the
sure are.
least.
Fantastic.
Another team near the bottom who is the opposite of home merchants. They're not really merchants at all. Burnley, they're playing Liverpool. This one started off. Burnley had a nice little counterattack. Abduni just completely did not pass and took a blast, thought he could hit a banger, and it was absolutely terrible. And Liverpool scored 1 minute later from it. Gakpo, little pass. What a rip from Darweezy Habibi. Just tidy finish from outside the box, edge of the box kind of area. And after that, it was just Liverpool piling it on. Mo Salah, actually Gakpo had an absolute shocker of a miss, and then Salah hitting the bar. Endo had a nice shot that Trafford had to tip over, and then Liverpool had, I want to say, 2 disallowed goals. I think Gakpo had one and Harvey Elliott had one. There was not a whole lot going on in the second half. So it went at halftime 1-0. Second half, Liverpool add one at the very end through Jota. Good sign, returning from injury. Just going 5-hole on Trafford from the tight angle. So there really was not much. This was a game, Sam. This was a game of Liverpool beating up on Burnley. And there's not much to say. I guess if I had to encapsulate this game with one stat, it would be that Burnley had 0 shots on target. And Liverpool had 10.
Mm-hmm. I think I called it 2-0 in this one.
I'm sure you did. I am sure you did. Moving on, big game from Tuesday on Boxing Day. United versus Villa. This game was absolutely bananas. It was bonkers. Pretty balanced early on. As the half went on, Villa got a little more established, and then off a free kick, John McGinn sends one in far post. Looked like a couple people might have been in the way that were offside and might have touched it, mainly Watkins. Ollie Watkins did not impact the play, so it was deemed a good goal. Philly go up 1-0 the 21st minute. 5 minutes later, ball kind of pinging around in the box. Long lay, little pass. Dendonker redeflects it in, makes it 2-0. Villa are in dreamland, and United are not having sweet dreams at the Theater of Dreams, Sam.
No, sir.
Couple chances for United as the half kind of drew to a close. Villa kind of got complacent, to say the least, but it goes into halftime 2-0. Second half, United open up right away, get a goal, but it is disallowed. Garnacho had a chance. It did not stand. However, in the 59th minute, Garnacho was fed by Marcus Rashford, and he did get a goal, Sam. He did get a goal. It was crazy to see Rashford have a goal contribution, given how he's been playing lately. And I tell you, this lineup too is at least a little better. But like, even Varane out there, that's just bad. Like, he's just not good. And now they like McTom's coming off the bench. He's been like their best player so far this year. It's very, very odd. But nonetheless, they get a goal, and then they follow it up with a second goal. Garnacho, little deflection, doesn't matter, goes in, makes it 2-2. And this whole second half, it just felt like Villa really were playing not to lose and eased up off the gas. They just didn't. They weren't winning the ball. They weren't a sharp passing. And United, they weren't really doing much besides just kind of spamming the ball in the box and hoping something happened. You know, low-driven balls and some crosses, but there wasn't really a plan at all. And then Sam, it happened. The moment of truth. Rasmus Højlund finally scores a goal.
It finally happened.
He breaks his cherry. What can you say? Sam, I know you felt great for the guy. 15 games, finally gets his first goal. How about that?
It's like seeing a man get his first glass of water after walking in the desert.
Pretty much. Yeah, I mean, Villa, total collapse. I mean, they really only had one good chance after their 2 goals, and that's when it was 2-2. You know, they had one cleared off the line, but it's like they just did not. They weren't aggressive like they normally are, and like, you know, they were getting pressed in like the midfield and just losing the ball. It was not good to see from Villa. Bad week for them. 1 point from 2 games, and it was Sheffield at home and United away. Not good. With that said, United, great result, but the performance, it just wasn't spectacular, Sam. It's just not. You don't feel good about their wins because it's all by chance. There's no actual consistency to their attacking play or their style that you can look at and be like, yep, nope, they'll get to it and win it. Same with like the West Ham game. You know, they played no different in the West Ham game than they did in this game against Villa.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of just the story of the year for them. It's just relying on brilliance from players or lucky bounces to go their way.
Indeed. All right. Moving on to the Wednesday games. First one up, Brentford versus Wolves. Call it the Nathan Collins Derby. Oh, and it went down.
Speaking of
in
Nathan
infamy.
Collins, stinky.
Stinky. This one, the first half really was pretty much told the story of the game. Brentford nearly scoring right off the bat, 12 minutes in. Scored on their own goal, that is, 12 minutes in. Jan Elt.
Yeah, I was going to say that's news to me.
Putting it right over his bar. And then from the next play on, Sarabia whipping in a ball at the back post. Just a perfect ball to Lamina, who scores with a header to open the score in 1-0. And then right off the kickoff, Brentford give away the ball. Nathan Collins absolutely lost in the sauce. Terrible back pass to Flecken, intercepted by Hwang Hee-chan. Sniffed it out, perfectly rounds Flecken and walks it in to make it 2-0. Brentford had something to say right off that. 16 minutes. Wasted Poles one back for Brentford after Wolves just comically failed to clear their lines. Pretty good finish. Ball falling to Wisa on the half volley there to pull it back 1-2. After that, there was another chance for Janelt, this time on the Wolves goal, but the point blank header was saved. And then 28 minutes in, kind of a weird play. Nathan Collins as kind of a half clearance to the midfield. Tati Gomez comes in with just a very powerful header back up. And that goes all the way up to Hwang Hee-chan, who just takes the chance perfectly. He did a little flick over, I forget who it was. If it was Yanelt or Rorslev at the end there, but fantastic finish by Hwang Hee-chan, who is absolutely in fantastic form. Just signed that contract extension too, so Wolves
Just to go off hurt.
would love to see that. Just to add insult to injury, Nathan Collins had a chance from a corner, point blank. From a set piece, rather, point blank, that he put over the bar. That was pretty brutal. Goes into halftime, 3-1. Second half, Brentford were the better side in the second half, but Wolves, were happy to sit back and allow them to put the pressure on. Wolves did get a fourth goal in the 79th minute. Another poor giveaway leads to a goal. This time, Bellegarde is
baby.
the beneficiary. That one ends 4-1. Wolves. Nice win there, Brentford.
Yeah, Wolves really, really cooking in form right now. I was thinking about it after the Chelsea Wolves game. Wolves, I don't know how you look at this team and you're like, yeah, they should reasonably stay up comfortably. Like just with any manager, with any like bang average manager. It's not really that great of a team, Sam. Mr.
Yeah,
Mr.
I think
Gaz
they
O'Neill is really,
they
really
get the
cooking
most
up
out of
something
it.
special. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, Gaz O'Neill, fantastic job.
Yeah, I mean, Mario Lamina's been playing fantastic. Hwang Hee-chan's having a career year.
Yeah, it's amazing. They're getting things out of guys like Bellegarde and stuff like that. They know what they're doing. We came in thinking it'd be a struggle, but once they got Gaz O'Neill, we believed. Tell you what else Sam believed in, that was Chelsea Football Club. He believed that they could win, and they did. They did it for him. Chelsea Crystal Palace opens up. Chelsea playing pretty well in attack. They get a goal 13 minutes in. Malagusto, amazing turn, amazing run. A little link up with Nkunku, squares it for Mudryk, who taps it in, and then celebrates with his arms out. He pretty much just steals Bellingham's celebration at this point. Chelsea, few good chances after that. Mudryk one-on-one with the keep, stonewalled by Dino, Big Dean Henderson. Another counterattack chance for Chelsea, and Nkunku clipped from behind by Chris Richards. Not called. It was pretty light. It was enough to throw Nkunku off. They did check for a penalty. It was not deemed a penalty. I agree. It was not a penalty. Chris Richards, fantastic game this game. It was all over the place. Meanwhile, Jefferson Lerma, I think he had like 9 fouls in this game, and he didn't get carded. It was incredible.
Sounds like a Lerma game to me.
Yeah, it's like, is there not accumulation at some point? I don't know. And then Chelsea, being the true charity FC that they are, said, Mikhailo Mudryk's been torching Klein the whole game. Let's not do that. Let's go to Ian Matson instead and have him run a Tyrick Mitchell for the last 15 minutes of the half. And they did absolutely nothing. He lost every 50-50 ball. Palace, with really their second chance of the game. They had a couple free kick chances before that went just wide. But their first real good chance, Ayew pops it in the far post to Elise, who lets it sit and then just smashes it in. Makes it 1-1 right on the cusp of halftime. Goes in halftime 1-1. Second half, Palace started off pretty well. Mateta doing a real good job of hold-up play in this game, really kind of putting the pressure on Chelsea. Petrovic making a couple nice saves. Chelsea makes some subs. Didn't really do a ton until they make another set of substitutions, which brings on Madueke, who is looking electric out there, to say the least. Best chance for Chelsea in the second half fell to Broya, who put it into the side netting. And then, at the very end, Chelsea have a corner. Bit of a mad scramble. Madueke has a clear touch on the edge of the box into the box, and Eze takes him out. No penalty called. Crystal Palace have like a 4-on-2 or a 5-on-2 counterattack chance. As a result, they do not score. VAR review. They give the penalty to Chelsea. Madueke steps up and slots it. And that is that for Chelsea. They grab all 3 points. Probably pretty disappointing if you're Palace. You thought you could hold on for 1-1, give away a cheap penalty at the end. But that's how the cookie crumbles.
Well, I know Roy Hodgson was disappointed. He was spitting.
He was, but he also left Jordan Ayew out there to do absolutely nothing the whole game, except he did have the assist, I suppose. But other than that, not much. I will say, as much flack as Pochettino got in this one, he at least started Mudryk and started Nkunku. I don't know why he played Matson. I don't get that. I know I'll never get that whole situation you have there. We did see Lavia. He came on, looked all right.
Apparently got hurt again.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't bring these guys back so fast. Had Thiago Silva on the bench, which was great. It was great.
Yeah.
You know, a little refresher. This was like the 8th youngest team in Premier League history or something like that. It was Chelsea's youngest by far. It's like the average age was like 22 and like 0.8 or something. What was I gonna say? Oh, Thiago Silva did come on and he fell down. So, there's always that.
He's old.
Yeah,
The
he's
fall
old,
risk.
all right. Pretty much. All right, Sam, break my heart. Tell me that Everton sucks now.
Everton no longer club of the future, going up against the world champions, Manchester City. Woohoo! Don't you love to hear that? World champions.
You know what?
What a team.
Man City fans this game with that chant. What'd they chant? You cheating bastards, you know what you are. That's like just shameless. Just shameless.
I mean, just to be a City fan in itself is shameless. So, guess they're
I
used to
suppose,
it.
but yeah. That's just the kind of people they are.
Yeah. Anyways, getting into this one, City open up the floodgates early. They had a lot of chances. Pickford making some big saves early on. Everton, managed to keep them out. They did. And you know what? They actually scored the first goal 29 minutes in. Everton take the lead after a uncharacteristic giveaway from Rodri. McNeil winds up with the ball, passes across to Jack Harrison for the goal. Harrison against his former club that he never played for. Anyways, Everton take the lead 1-0. After that, Harrison had another chance later on in the first half that was saved nicely, and City had some more chances as well, still unable to find the goal. Goes into halftime, 1-0. Second half, City draw level early on. Phil Foden with a laser from outside the box, tucks it perfectly inside the post. Then, about 10 minutes later, controversial penalty awarded after Onana is called for a handball inside the box. Pretty close range there. Anyways, Alvarez steps up, goes straight down the middle with his penalty, nearly saved by Pickford's foot, but nonetheless goes in. City take the lead. Calvert-Lewin had a chance to draw level on the break from close range, but he put his chance wide, And then City sealed all 3 points in the 86th minute after Jordan Pickford, with some poor play out of the back, giving away the ball to Bernardo Silva, who capitalized. Pickford being out of his goal. City come back from the Club World Cup, cruise to a 3-1 victory. They're right there in the title hunt, that's for sure, as the teams at the top keep dropping points. Arsenal, Liverpool, setting up nicely for another Man City title.
Is that what you think?
I think so.
We shall see. We shall see. Moving on. Two teams that aren't going to win the title, but are competing for
Yeah.
Europe. Brighton and Tottenham. This game was all Brighton, Sam. I will tell you that much. From the off, Brighton just had fantastic counterattack chances. Vicario had to come up with some big saves, yelling at the defense. But I mean, what can you expect? Their defense was Royale, Porro, Davis, and Udogi. They didn't even have a true center back. I mean, Davis plays center back, but he's
Not a center
he's
back
coming
by
up with
trade.
Swansea. Yeah, he was a fullback. So pretty tough, to say the least. Scoring opens, João Pedro finding Jack Hinkleshwood, who just hits him with the pile driver right on Vicario's head to make it 1-0. Couple chances after that, including a real good one for Buonanotte, but he was offside, so it didn't even matter. And then Brighton win a penalty. Little tug on the jersey of Danny Welbeck from Kulishevsky goes to VAR. This is what makes me question VAR. Like, this is clear as day a total pull. Like, he had the fistful of jersey, and like the ref just didn't see or didn't call it, didn't bother. He's just like, oh, well, VAR will see it. It's like, how is it not called right away?
Yeah, they like refuse to actually call penalties.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just
they're
like
slaves to the VAR
deferring to
system.
the VAR.
Yeah, it's really annoying. João Pedro steps up, slots it on home, makes it 2-0. João Pedro almost had another one in the first half as who was that who played a back pass? Someone played a back pass to Ben Davies, and Ben Davies was not ready for it whatsoever. And João Pedro was 1-on-1 with the keep, went for a chip, and Vicario got just enough on it. So it goes in halftime 2-0. Second half, Tottenham kind of piling on pressure right away. Had a couple chances through Richarlison. Scored 2, but was offside on both. And then he missed just an absolute sitter that went just wide. And then Brighton won a corner, and Milner drilling a pass. Amazing assist. And by amazing assist, I mean it was just an absolute rocket from Purvis Estupiñán. He's back, as he let everyone know as he looked at the camera and said, I'm back after hitting a banger. Goes 3-0 to Brighton. And then Ferguson wins a penalty. João Pedro steps up, slots it. 3-goal/assist game from João Pedro in this one. Makes it 4-0. Tottenham garbage time just popping off, sending the ball in. It was their new signing, the South American, Felice.
Feliz
For,
Navidad.
so- for some reason, Brighton's playing out of the back, passing it around. They lose it. Son wins it, plays it on over to Felice. He scores. And then Tottenham with another goal at the very end. Porro swings it in far post. Davies smashes it in on the header at the back post. And a couple half chances to end the game for Tottenham, but nothing. Well, they did hit the post, but other than that, nothing too crazy. Finishes 4-2. This is the Brighton we've come to know and love since last year, but not the case so far for most this year.
Yeah, indeed. All right, moving on to the last game, Arsenal versus West Ham. This one gets off to an early start. West Ham getting a goal through Suchek after some confusion at the back. Gabriel and Zinchenko failing to clear. Looked like the ball went out of bounds. They reviewed it many times. We all
Isn't it
had
nice to know we can't
flashbacks.
get a camera?
Newcastle. We can't get a
Can't get a
camera.
cam in the
We
right
have
spot.
goal line technology, but we can't tell if a ball goes out or not. It sure looked like it was out, but they're not going to call it. So, anyways, ball's back out to Suchek, who scores. After that, Arsenal with a number of solid chances. Saka had a header saved by Areola, and then
Big Areola game.
big Areola game. Martinelli had a chance put
Big
wide,
Areola.
and then Saka hit the post before halftime. Second half, West Ham grab a second goal through a corner. James Ward-Prowse with a fantastic ball to Mavropanos. I said before the game, people not respecting the Mavropanos revenge game. There it is, lads. 2-0. West Ham take the lead. After that, Arsenal just continue to pour on pressure, but are completely unable to score despite having like 9 million chances, 77 touches in the West Ham box. Gabby Jesus, very poor performance, cannot finish to save his life.
He's not a natural goal scorer. That's not his role.
He is not.
He told us so.
Good meme at the end. Declan Rice falls, gives away penalty on Emerson. Ben Rama steps up with a pretty shit penalty saved by David Raya. This one ends 2-0. Disappointing defeat for Arsenal once again, showing complete lack of finishing ability is probably going to be the downfall for any title hopes this season. Arsenal.
Yeah, maybe play Eddie and Ketia. I don't know.
Yeah, just switch it up.
I know what he is. I feel good about it. Gabby Jesus isn't going. Can't be afraid to make that call, but I told you I'm not an Arteta guy right now for like the last pretty much this entire season. I've just been selling my Arteta stock right now. I just don't like it. Also, Bukayo Saka, that one chance he had, that's got to be a goal. He had that big chance. That was pretty tough.
I feel like you play this game over 10 times, Arsenal wins 9 of them. But,
Yeah, it's tough. West
That's
Ham
just
have a
life.
good defense, and when you give up that early goal, it makes it way easier for them to hunker down.
Yeah, and referees can't make correct call.
I suppose.
And that ball was out.
Well, I couldn't tell because the camera angle. There's no camera.
Well, you could see the full post, so out
I
to
couldn't
me.
see anything. All I could see was Thomas Suchek having a massive head.
Yes. All right, let's get into next week's fixtures. Start off Luton versus Chelsea.
Chelsea on the road, Luton in form. Luton might break my idea of the bad teams can't win consecutively because they just won back to back. But then again, Luton's not a bad team, so I don't know
Club of
what
the
to say.
future, some say.
Yeah. I'll say Luton 2-1.
I think Chelsea are going to take this one 2-1.
There's no how.
Oh, they'll find a way.
Who's scoring? Are Luton spotting him 2 goals right off the bat?
I think Conor Gallagher's.
Did you see that Chelsea might sell him?
Did.
Does that make any sense that if they look to sell him in the summer for 40 mil, that they would sell him now for 40 mil? Like as if his stock wouldn't have gone up?
Well, especially when you're
I feel
Chelsea
like
and
I'm
you're
taking
devoid
crazy
of good
pills.
players.
Well, yeah, no, it doesn't make sense to sell him at all, but like just his transfer market value wouldn't have gone up being the best player on the team in like a 4-month window. Like that doesn't make any sense to me personally.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, second game, Clarendon Blue Derby, Villa versus Burnley. Villa not great out in their last game against United and the game before that against Sheffield. So looking to bounce back. I think they'll bounce back in this one. I'd say probably 2-0.
Yeah, they need Diaby to get cooking again. He's been kind of way too quiet lately. I'm gonna say we'll say 3-1.
3-1. Next game, Crystal Palace versus Brentford. I don't know how to even
I
call
I would say first off, they played 5 times and they've all been 5 draws.
it. Okay. That
The
falls in line
first
with what
two
I was thinking.
the first two were 0-0 and the next 3 were 1-1. I'm gonna go back on the 0-0 bandwagon.
I'm going to say 2-2.
Ooh. Oh. That's nuts. You're getting nuts out here.
Yes, sir.
City against Sheffield United. Chris Wilder. Can he be a wild man and pull off a stunner?
No, I think this will probably be like 5-0.
Really? I think it's going to be like one of those stupid ones where like if City was playing any other team in that week, they might lose or draw, but they'll win like 1 or 2-0.
Maybe. Maybe.
It's like, "Oh my gosh. I'm going to go 2-0 City."
Right, Wolves
Wolves
versus
Everton.
Everton.
Counter Cody Darby.
R.I.P.
Wow, this head to head 19 games, 6 wins for Everton, 6 draws, 7 wins for Wolves. Gonna get an Everton win here.
No, I kind of feel like it's going to happen. Feel like it's
Wolves
going to
have been a
happen.
little too hot. When you think once you get fully on board with Wolves, that's when they kind of crap on your face, and you're like, "Oh,
Yeah.
why'd you do that?"
I think
I'll say a
Everton will take
draw.
this one.
I'll say a draw, but if I had to pick a winner, I'd say Everton. But I'll go with 1-1.
I'm going to say 2-1 Everton.
Good. We have our full spread covered there. Forest United at the City Ground.
Don't rule out Nuno's
What do you-
men.
What are you looking for in this game? Are you still thinking new manager bounce?
Yeah, I mean, I guess if they can play on the counter like they have been, why not? But I feel like United will probably hold the ball a lot, do nothing with it.
I'm going United 1-0 because this is just what this team does. They're just stupid.
I'm going to say Forest 1-0.
Okay, I respect it. And United, by the way, for the record, someone just absolutely dumb is going to score for United. It's going to be like Amrabat or like Juan Bissaka or something. Or Palestri, just like the dumbest possible guy. Fulham Arsenal, Craven Cottage. Are you scared, Sam, going to the cottage?
Always scared. Arsenal coming off a disappointing loss. Fulham, some disappointing results too. I think they'll be up for the game. Sounds like Raul Jimenez is going to be back. So I think this will be a tough one. If Fulham are up for it, I could see it being like a 2-2 draw.
Yeah, I definitely could too. I think I'm going to go Arsenal 2-1, but I think it definitely will be close given the fact Fulham haven't been playing all that well lately.
Yeah. Depends which Fulham shows.
Is Ramsdale ever going to play for Arsenal again? Yes or no?
Probably not.
Very odd. Could he go back to Bournemouth?
Maybe.
Do one of those American rumors where it's like, yeah, they're gonna do a trade of Neto and 10 mil for Ramsdale.
Yeah, exactly.
Tottenham Bournemouth. Speaking of
Yeah,
Neto
red hot
employment.
Bournemouth. I mean, it's hard to not pick them against this very shoddy Spurs back line.
Mm,
I
I don't
mean, at least
think
a
you
draw.
know. Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is a fortress.
At least a draw. Maybe like a 2-2.
Yeah, I think 2-2 is a good call. I'm gonna steal your thunder there and go with that. And I'm gonna say it's we're gonna get like a Sun brace and then like a Big Dom brace or something.
Yeah.
Maybe a Tavernier brace.
Okay. The Monday game, Liverpool versus Newcastle. Newcastle, absolutely terrible on the
Thinking
road.
up the joint. Anyway, they just get like 4-0 and Eddie Howe's out. I just don't know if Liverpool have it in them at the moment.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it'd probably be more along the lines of the Arsenal game,
1-0.
like a 1-0.
Kind of,
Yeah.
yeah. That's what I'm leaning towards. Liverpool
The
1-0.
Endo midfield for me,
It doesn't work. He's just not
not good enough.
good. He can play the Europa League games, but he cannot play in the Premier
Exactly.
League.
Exactly.
So,
All right.
West Ham Brighton to wrap it up.
Yeah, gosh, I have no idea how to predict Brighton anymore.
I still do. I think this game is kind of an anomaly.
1-1
Um,
maybe?
yeah, I kind of like where West Ham are at right now. I think
Yeah.
I don't want to buy too much in, but I think this game's going to be like a 2-1 West Ham.
Yeah, that's kind I was thinking maybe 2-1 West Ham too.
If West Ham had, I know we were talking about if they had McTom and Maguire earlier this year, because there's that chance that they got those guys. If they got Gallagher, because they were in talks with him earlier, it's West Ham and Tottenham. They had Gallagher.
That would be nice.
I would be open to the idea of them in a Champions League spot.
Oh. Whoa. I
For
don't know if
sure,
I'd go that far.
for sure, well, for sure, the Conference League spot.
Yeah.
I would like pencil them in for that, maybe even pen.
Okay.
But Europa League, they'd be in contention for fifth. I would heavily consider it. Their defense is still pretty shaky, but yeah, I think they get a win here. What's your prediction for this week?
My prediction is that Conor Gallagher scores against Luton.
Oh no. Why do you do this? Why do you do this to yourself and to me?
No, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
All right. He's willing it into existence.
Yep, Hank will thank me later.
I'm thinking it's your boy Nicholas Jackson.
Okay. We
Just kidding. He can't score. He sucks.
we shall see.
We shall see. Well, it's been another fantastic week and holiday season here at the Premiership Cruiser podcast.
Yes. Rolls on. More games coming at you fast.
Keep on perusing, you perusers. And adios, mis amigos.
Bye.